What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. But let's start it off. Let's kick it off with a late happy birthday to Jonathan here. Happy Mardi
Appreciate
Gras as
that.
well. My boy got a little turned up last weekend. We had to push back the episode. So all love though. We didn't plan properly like we did for my birthday. My birthday, we were like, okay, let's record during the week. Jonathan's birthday came up. Honestly, it came up quick for me. I guess neither of us realized that or planned that far ahead for the podcast was. So
No, yeah, I did not think ahead. I honestly was like, I'm a superhero. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to recover. I'm going to be just ready to go. But then we had our basketball game, which did not go well. I just was not feeling the best all day. It was just not great, but we're back now. It's all that matters. I thought the Pedialyte was going to save the day. It really didn't, like everybody hypes it up to do. Maybe I was just down that bad, or I'm just getting old. It's a combination of all those, I think. Like that was when my age hit me. I was like, I'm
yeah,
really 25. Like I'm not
yeah.
21 anymore. It's not the same. But no, it was all good. It was a good birthday. So thank you for that. Happy birthday.
Course. I didn't tell you on your birthday, so I could save it for this.
Yeah. Yeah. A nice little like 7 day late. Happy birthday. No, I'm kidding. He did say for the record, he told me happy birthday. So yeah, shout out to everybody for the birthday love. Everybody told me happy birthday. Appreciate you.
Definitely. Let's move into some basketball updates, though. You brought it up. Not our best game last week. I feel like we haven't updated this in a minute. We're sitting at
Mm-mm.
2-3 on the season.
Better than
Huge
last
game
year.
today, but we have a lot of players out, so I'm gonna have to go in my last season mode. I haven't been scoring. I've just been kind of out there just defending and passing like I
Yeah,
want to be.
you're a little Ben
But
Simmons out there. Last season, you were good for like 4 or 5 points a game. Like I was pretty confident you'd have a little layup, a little three. Like you were good for that. This season, you shot the ball like two times.
less than 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I've shot more in like 1 minute before than you have the entire season, I'm sure,
Yeah,
which is crazy. But anyway, yeah, I mean, 2-3, baby. That's not too bad considering we were 1-8 last year. Like, I think we could go 500 today. Obviously, we're a little bit, outnumbered. We have a smaller team than we're used to. The boys got some business to take care of. Some people aren't gonna be able to make it, which is tough. But hey, we'll be back next week with a big update. I hope, fingers crossed, 3-3. If we get to 500 again, I'm gonna be feeling pretty good.
yeah. I mean, that's the plan, obviously. So we're out a few players, so a few of our scorers. So you know what it means.
I'm about to turn up.
And
No,
this is
somebody is.
this is a big game for me. The league wants to silence me. I'm reaching my what is it like my limit on text, I guess.
Hmm.
And this could potentially be one of my last games as a Paxton Rec League Hooper. So
Crazy. I'm setting the over under at 0.5. What are you taking? Over
for
under for
what?
your technicals
I won't get
today.
one today.
You won't get one today? Okay.
I'm wearing a mask. The league wants to silence me.
I kind of want to get one. I've never got a technical before, but I think it'd be kind of fun. I almost got one a couple weeks ago. I thought it was close, but I don't do that much. You do. You haven't done that much either, but they're just out to get you, I think.
Yeah, the league wants to silence me.
They're
It's
anti-Range
whatever.
Brother. They're pushing the anti-Range Brother
I'm
agenda.
like
It's
Kareem
disgusting.
Abdul-Jabbar in college. I just they
Yeah.
want to silence me. I don't get
Yeah.
it. So
You hate to see it, but we'll never let them silence us. Range Brothers, we're back,
facts.
baby. We never left. But yeah, a lot of basketball talk. Last week was the NBA All Star game, so no episode, but we were gonna do the NBA rap references part two. We did it back on episode 5, which
Yeah, I
doesn't
was
feel like
looking
that
for
long
it.
ago, but it was so long ago, really. So we wanted to do a new edition of that with some more updated references, some classic references, just talk about some basketball references and some of our favorite songs. I mean, basketball references are some of my favorite lines ever. So love getting to talk about these. Let's get into it. You want to kick us off with the first one?
Yeah, for our first one here, we have Vanity Chasing, Ego Fragile, like Anthony Davis by Corday on Beetleborgs off the new Baby Tron project. This is like crazy. Like a lot of these are like praising the players. This is insane though. Obviously, AD gets like the like on social media on Twitter, he's a Disney, he's Anthony Day to Day
Street
Davis.
clothes. Yeah.
But for like a prominent rapper like Corday to be saying a line like this, it's crazy. The first time I heard that, I was like, God damn.
Yeah, for real. It's just tough because if you're a rapper at that level and you mention a player, they're gonna hear about it. So Anthony Davis has heard that lyric, and so now what's the vibe like when those two like encounter each other? You know what I mean? It's just a fun line, but I'm sure Anthony Davis might not feel the same way about that.
Yeah, and with how closely connected Corday is to like sports, I mean,
Hmm.
there's a huge chance like him and Anthony Davis know each other. You know, they've
Yeah,
the mutual friends, stuff like that. So
for sure. And at least it's not like a personal diss. It's just like his basketball health, but still, like, I'm sure Anthony Davis like doesn't feel the best about that. So having somebody diss that got to be tough. But yeah, we're gonna rate these. NBA dunk contest style, 0 to 50. What's your rating on this one?
I don't know how that. This is a weird one for it to be first. Um,
I'm high on this one.
I'd also lean high, although it's a disc. Give me a 47.
That's exactly the number I was thinking. Let's go. It's not a perfect 50, but it's pretty close. Like, it's a
Mhm.
great line. So yeah, 47. I'm glad we're in sync on that. That was nice. Let's get in the next one here. We got Pop Smoke on Hello when he says, "I'm the king of New York, mellow."
I feel like out of the song, it doesn't sound like as good, but like
Uh-huh.
it's such a great flow and
It
in
is.
Hello there.
That's my exact thought as well. Standalone line, not very impressive. Very, very simple. Obviously Pop Smoke was the king of New York. Mello was running it with the Knicks. Like, great comparison there, but it's just not like a super deep reference. It's not like crazy wordplay. So I'd have to give it like, outside of the context of the song, I'm gonna give it like a 39.
Yeah, like you said, out of the context of the song, it's not that crazy. I'll go 37, but in the song, it's perfect.
Oh yeah, it's great in the song. It sounds perfect. In the context of the song, it might be one of the best ones we're going to talk about, but standalone, definitely not even a 40.
Yeah, let's move on here to our second Baby Tron song. Obviously, Corday was featured on Beetleborgs, but we got Glocky on Me. I'm the Iron Man. I feel like AC Green off of Eighth Wonder of the World. That's tough. I like these ones where they can bring in a player that you wouldn't think of. Like AC Green, known for playing all these games in a row. He's the Iron Man.
Hmm.
I like this just because he's bringing a guy like AC Green. Like I feel like that's what Babytron does so well with like a lot of these
Hmm.
references, bringing up like obscure references from our childhood. So for that, give me a 48.
That's exactly where I was going to go. It's just a
Oh
little
my
bit better than
gosh.
the Corday one. Just a little bit better than Corday, but it's not a 50 yet. I think there's some that we're to get to that are 50s. This is not a 50 yet, but it's just a little bit better than Corday. So setting the standard with Corday being a 47 there, had to go a little bit above. Like you said, major points for a more obscure player. I barely know anything about AC Green, but obviously the way he sets up the line, everything about AC Green you need to know.
Yeah.
That boy is playing games. Baby Tron running it too. So yeah, great reference, obscure reference, but I love it. So yeah, 48 on that for me.
We're just in sync today.
I know where these lines are just so like clearly defined, but yeah, I love it. Let's go on the next one though. We have Live in the Flesh, Ron Artest, Counting Me Out, Came Back, I'm a Champ. Babyface Ray said that on his song, Ron Artest, one of my favorite songs to drop this year. I love this. Ron Artest, great character arc on that man from the malice to the palace to meta world peace. I mean, that boy is just different. He's just built different. It's as simple as that. I think this is a pretty good line. It's not mind blowing. I'm gonna give it like a 41. The Dirk
Yeah.
Nowitzki.
Yeah, I'll give it a 40. I feel like there's so much potential with Ron Artest there. Like you could bring in so many different elements. Like I just could have been done better with Ron Artest, I feel like.
It could have been, but and it's another one where outside of the song it's not as good. But in the song, it's called Ron Artest.
Yeah.
It samples Ron Artest talking. That like kind of amps it up. So when you get to that
Mhm.
Ron Artest reference later in the song, you're like, all right, full
Mhm.
circle moment. Like it's great. But standalone, you're like, okay, you could do a little bit better. But I like the storytelling. He's probably comparing himself to Ron Artest's journey. Beautiful. From Babyface Ray. So yeah.
Definitely. Shout out Babyface Ray, another Detroit legend there. So
We're showing a
um
lot of Detroit love today.
they just do the NBA references different, I
I
guess.
guess so.
Moving on here. We got a Midwest boy here. We got Polo G. And I'm straight from the shy, but I ball like a king up in Cali and shoot like Stojakovic. That's tough. That's a 50 for me. I mean, bringing Stojakovic is just a different level for me. Like that is one of my favorite players from being a kid. So
That's fire. It's a great line. Obviously, you got the Kings reference and the Stojakovic reference there, so it's just like double there. I'm not gonna go 50. I'm gonna go 49. It's so close. It's so close, but I think we have a couple that just hit a little bit above it. Great
In
reference. And
this, yeah.
Stojakovic, that's a little another one where it's a little bit more obscure than your LeBron reference and your Kobe reference. So major props there to Polo G.
Definitely. I feel like he tied it all in together. And in the song as well, it just hits hard. So
It's another one very similar to the Pop Smoke one where it just sounds really good in the song too.
Yeah.
So that alone, like standalone lyric, great, but in the song it sounds just as good. Let's move on to the next one here. We got Drake on the My Way remix by Fetty Wap where he says, "They should call me James because I'm going hard in this bitch." This is one where it sounds good in the song. The lyric alone. Because the way he flows, they should call me James. Like he like lets it go a little bit. So it sounds good. But when you see the lyric, you're like, Drizzy, what are we doing, man? Like, come on, you do a little better. He's got, the other James Harden reference where he says, H time my second home, like I'm James Harden. That one debatably better, but we need some ones that aren't 50s. So I threw this one in here. For this one here, I'm gonna go like a 32.
I was 34 there, so we're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you said, outside the context of the song, it is not very good. So,
and I think this is going to be my chance to petition for the My Way remix. We got to get that on streaming services. It's been like almost 8 years.
Wait, entirely too long.
Yeah, it's been way too long. Like you're telling me for whatever reason we can't get that.
I was in eighth grade whenever I was in 8th grade bumping that, and it's still not on streaming services.
That's actually crazy because I can remember that playing at like my high school prom. So this is just another one of those like just crazy.
I was at farewell playing moments. This bitch.
Man, my farewell story. I'll say it quick. I remember just sitting there, and I was playing Call of Duty Zombies on my iPod during the dance. Like I was just sitting there playing. I had no interest in anything that was happening. I was just trying to get the ray gun, man. I was out here.
I was grinding. Yeah,
yeah.
I respect the grind.
Oh yeah.
Moving on here, we got 33 Scottie Pippen by Roddy Ricch on Start With Me. I'll let you go first. I want to see your thoughts on this one.
I don't love this one. It's not very impressive to me. It's very slight. I think it's about the same level as the Drake one we just talked about. I'm gonna go another 32 here. Like it's like really like the exact same for me. Like they're just like such slight references. They're nods to the players, but it's like there's no like thinking behind the lyric. Like it's just so straightforward. It's so laid out. It's a nice little reference. I'm sure it flows good in the song, but as a standalone lyric, it's like, it's all right.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you got the same vibes as me. Like outside the song, just reading that lyric, it's not very tough. In the song, it fits pretty well. Like I feel like all these do. So
yeah. So what's your rating?
Oh fuck. Give me 36.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, not too crazy, but decent. Let's move on to the next one here. We got Freddie Gibbs on his track Scotty Beam. He says, "Hook shot a hoe like Kareem, but I never leave the Bucks."
That's
What's
tough.
your years here first?
Yeah, okay. I like that one. I'd put it at a 48. I don't think it's quite a 50 for me. I don't think it's better than the Stojakovic line, so I'm gonna put it at 48.
I think it's the same as the Stojakovic line. I'm going another 49. I think they're like right there. Obviously, a little double entendre. Freddie's never leaving the money. Kareem never. Well, he did leave the Bucks to go to the Lakers, but he wouldn't leave the Bucks. So I think that's a good line. I think it's a good play. It's a you've heard people say hook shot, for Kareem, all this stuff, but never leave the Bucks. I think that's the first person I've heard use that reference. So for that, it's got to be pretty high.
Yeah, it's the but I never leave the Bucks part, but it's he left the Bucks, so that's why it's not.
He's saying he's never leaving the Bucks.
Oh, okay, my fault.
He'll hook shot a hoe like Kareem, but he'll never leave the Bucks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so there we go. I think that's why it's got to be high.
Okay, yep. This is an obvious 50 for me. This is like I feel like one of our lines. Like every time we listen to it, it's we just give that little stare. Like this one's just perfect for me. We got Pusha T on Hear Me Clearly, left my elbow in the pot, a la Vince Carter. Obviously, to the dunk contest reference. I mean, that was a 50. This has got to be a 50 for me. So
this will be my first 50 as well. This is another one where, maybe when you see the lyric, you're like, it's not that impressive. But in the song, plus like just like the vibe, like the connection to it, I love it. It's just, and it is a good line because it's the double entendre, the pot, the crack game, Pusha T. So for that reason, for the double entendre, it's a 50. But I think there are others like where the pen game is a little bit more impressive, but I think that those are also 50s. Like, this is like the standard for what a 50 should be. Great line from Pusha T, and it's another one that sounds, just as great in the song. So for that
Mhm.
reason, easy 50. Let's move on to the last one we got here. Used to have the dope money in the mattress. Now I beat up mics like Shaq and Penny. Magic. Conway the Machine said that on Action Bronson's song Tong Po. Pretty fire here. I think this is I'm walking the 50 line, maybe 49. I don't know. I think this one's really good.
I like this one a lot. I'm all right if you give it a 50. I got it right at 49.
I'm going 50. I love it. I think it's a
I
great line. I mean, obviously you got the reference to the Magic dropping the Bulls with Michael Jordan. I mean, that's
mhm.
just a great line. A little storytelling from Conway about his come up and where he's at right now. He's beating up the microphone, just like Shaq and Penny were just beating up Michael Jordan,
Mhm.
that's a fire line because there's not too many people you can reference about beating up Michael Jordan like that.
Yeah, I like it. I it's the Stojakovic bias coming in here. Like that's my level there. And I
Mhm.
love Shaq and Penny. I hate Michael Jordan. So that should almost be a 50 for me, but
Yeah, just for that reason, just for Michael Jordan slander.
yeah.
No, that's a great line though. I just sent you this freestyle the other day by Conway the Machine. I forget what
Yeah.
radio he was
Ooh.
on, but he went crazy. He had
Yeah, that
so many
was
NBA references in that verse too. So I wanted to drop some of those, but we wanted to stick to like traditional songs for this. But go just look up Conway the Machine freestyle, and he goes crazy. I mean, that boy's just different. And anybody in Griselda, they're gonna kill it. I also feel like they got that old head energy. Like they'd be the ones to reference AC Green. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
uh,
That's what's I feel like we could have done a whole Baby Tron list here. Like
mhm.
and that is what is so I feel like his references, especially like sharing it well with our generation, because who's bringing up the hash slinging slasher? Who's going over a fucking Harry Potter, The Office beat? Who has an
Yeah,
album named Luka Trončić? Like he just
only
has
Tron.
the references that just fit our generation. I feel like so.
No,
Like
for
we
sure.
both talked about, we could have done a whole list of just Baby Tron NBA references. So
Yeah,
maybe a
he's
maybe an idea for the
different.
future.
No, yeah, he's one of the best. I feel like Action Bronson's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Those two for me are like two of the best. And then that kind of, you talking about him with all these references, it made me think of this tweet. We sent it to each other the other day, but somebody on Twitter said, I fuck with Baby Tron because you think he's an unserious rapper until you start listening and realize he's actually one of the best spitters out right now. And it's just so valid. Like you see Baby Tron, you're like, oh, who's this guy? You see his album covers, you see, he just dropped a tape. We're going to get into that a little bit, but
um,
the cover on that, you're like, who is this guy? What is he doing? He looks so just like SoundCloudy, like he just doesn't care. But then you hear him and you're like, his pen game is different. Like he's really
uh-huh.
making these references, good lyricism, like and just interesting beats. He's just all around. I mean, he's one of the best newcomers in the game. So just gotta go give our flowers to Baby Tron always.
Of course.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for the main section of the episode. Let's move on to the news. As we mentioned, we got a drop from Baby Tron, so let's start off with the drops here. We got projects. Baby Tron, of course, Don Tolliver, Logic, Gorillas, Yeet, Key Glock, and Suicide Boys. Pretty good week for the albums and the projects this week. We had kind of been talking about how the year had been a little bit slow. This kind of felt like the first like really good week, like
Yeah.
where there's big names dropping. You're like, okay, this is one of the ones that's gonna like almost. I think you said like define how the year's gonna go. I'll let you speak on that, but I think there's some truth to that. Like it's almost the end of February and we haven't had that album besides Lil Yachty. I'll say that was like, wow, this is gonna be a great year. Um, and I still don't think we really got that this week yet. I like the Don Toliver one, but I'm not like top 10, no question. Like this is
Mhm.
one of my ones for the year. Whereas last year, in week one, we had the Weeknd, we had Earl Sweatshirt. Which ended up being two of my top 10.
Gonna.
Uh, Gunna as well. He didn't make my top 10, but I mean, great album as well. Yeah. There was just more happening. It felt like, so yeah, I don't
I
know. What are your thoughts on that?
My thing with it is I love the Yachty project. Um, it's just such a different vibe and everything. But the Yachty project, that's headphone music. That's not you're not banging that
Mhm.
everywhere. That's not going to go viral. We have not had like Push and P last year was fucking everywhere. Like we haven't had that. And then along with Push and P, like you said, two top 10 albums from you as well, with the Earl Sweatshirt and the Weekend project there. So it's not that I feel like we don't have the popularity this year so far, along with the quality, backing that as well. So this is, I feel like this is a good week though. Uh,
Mhm. Good
what
step in the
I'd
right
say,
direction.
what was your favorite project of the week?
I'm gonna be honest. The only one I've listened to so far is Don. And Baby Tron, I guess, but I like the Don one better. The Baby Tron was just so slight, just a quick couple tracks. I'm excited to get in the Logic one though. I've heard, I feel like with every project you're gonna hear mixed reviews from Logic, but I've heard some good things about that, and I like the concept of it. Taking it back to his come up, which is cool, which was like peak Logic for I feel like most people. So that's cool. And then I want to hear this Gorillaz one as well, and I'd probably check out some of the Yeet one. I feel like once you hear a Yeet song, you've kind of heard them all, in my opinion. Like I'm not
Yeah,
like blown away. So in terms of like listening to a full like hour of Yeet, I'm like, I don't know if that's the best use of an hour for me, but I give it a chance.
definitely. I definitely go with the Don Toliver here so far. I'll give the Logic a scroll through, and then Key Glock, and also the Gorillaz one I want to give a listen to. So there's a lot this week. I feel like it's not one of the weeks where we had to listen to everything. It's like we can pick and choose and like enjoy what we listen to. So
Did you have a favorite track off Don's album?
let me double check. I have a few saved. The one with Kali Uchis. I thought she was on it, but I was double checking. I saw her single on there as well. But yeah, it'd be that track for me. How about you?
I really liked the one with WizKid. I liked, I'm biased to Brent, so I like the one with Brent a lot. Charlie Wilson, never gonna miss on a feature. But yeah, the one with Kali Uchis was great. The one also with Lil Durk was cool. Yeah, a lot of good tracks on there. I need to give it a couple more listens, but I was pretty happy with it. Like I've listened to it twice through, and W for
Enjoyed
Don.
it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's somebody that just kind of flies under the radar a little bit. Like he's pretty popular, but like
Mhm.
I don't feel like there's that many people that are like talking about Don Toliver, but this should
Yeah.
be.
There's a crazy point I want to make with that in a little bit. We'll talk about it in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some of these singles first, though. We got a single from Pusha T for the Cocaine Bear soundtrack. We got Kali Uchis, The Kid Laroi, Lil Wayne featuring DMX, The Weeknd featuring Ariana Grande on the Die For You remix, G Herbo, A Boogie with the Hoodie featuring Mariah the Scientist, Zach Bia featuring Lil Yachty and 347 Aiden, and Dreamer Isioma featuring Red Veil. Pretty good week. This was like, there were some good projects with a lot of good singles as well.
It was really cool to see Pusha T on the Cocaine Bear track list. Obviously, like that's just too easy of a person to get on for that. So big W there. And then what was your favorite track of the week?
I think I would have to go with probably Kali Uchis. I like every single we've been getting from her. I mean, I'm excited for that project. She's really good. That'd have to be it. I think the Dreamer track with Red Veil was definitely cool as well. Lil Yachty doing his sound from his project on a track with Zach B and 3478, and that was pretty cool. The most surprising drop of the week, though, has to be The Weeknd with Ariana Grande. I mean, a Die For You remix, that track came out like around
Forever.
Thanksgiving in
Yeah.
2016. Like that is crazy. It's been over 6 years since that dropped. So just the resurgence of that track in general has been crazy to watch because it was so slept on when the album dropped because you had I Feel It Coming, you had Starboy, all these huge tracks, and that was one that was like a deep cut at the time. So now to have it be like top 10 on the radio, just get a new remix, crazy to see. But it's just so interesting because like you would think back to 15 years ago before streaming services, like they weren't going to do like a remix like this probably because it wasn't as simple to just drop it on the internet, you know what I mean? Like they weren't going to press CDs for a remix for a song 7 years later. So that's crazy to see, but love to see it. I didn't love the track. I like the Save Your Tears remix better between those two, but I think it's just cool to see in general.
Yeah, I agree with you with that. It wasn't as good as the Save Your Tears one, but it's Ariana Grande and The Weeknd on a track. Like that's you can't really miss with that. So
facts. It was cool. But yeah, like you were talking about earlier, with these drops, we don't like base our opinions off of stats. We don't do all that, but it's cool to look at the stats sometimes, just see how these albums are being received. We got some first week sales projections for Don Toliver and for Yeet. Don Toliver projected to sell between 31 and 36,000 first week, and Yeet is projected to sell between 60 and 70,000 first week.
this is crazy.
This is where you had your point. Yeah, what do you got to say?
This is insane to me because I think that Yeet is a tier below Don Toliver in terms of music. So I think with his social media like presence and everything, that would put his sales right at the level of Don Toliver's, not 2 times past it nearly. I don't know. Like I think he's definitely a tier below in terms of music, and that his popularity like would match those sales records. But it is insane to me that is that's crazy.
No, it's so crazy. Yeah, in my head, they're maybe around the same even, but in no world would I imagine Yeet is doing double the sales of Don Toliver, especially when you look at the track list. Like Don Toliver has all these features. You know, he doesn't have Travis, but he has so many other people. He has Justin Bieber, for God's sake. I mean, like, how do you not
Yeah.
go as crazy with Justin Bieber and Future on the same
Glorilla
track?
blowing up right now.
Glorilla, Dirk, obviously crazy numbers versus Yeet, who had like Young Boy, and that's like
Mhm.
it. So it's just kind of crazy. I mean, that just goes to show how like rabid of a fan base Yeet has, which is pretty fire. But yeah, I just would
Yeah.
have expected Don to be closer, and I think Don is going to have like the longer lasting effect. Like Yeet is kind of like, I feel like he just pops here
Uh,
and there, but I feel like his fan base is good too at the
his
same time.
fan
So
base
maybe
is
that's
so
not true. I
consistent.
don't
Yeah.
know. So maybe that's not
It's
true. I don't
crazy.
know. But I feel like just in general, Don Toliver, just like those, we're gonna hear those songs for a long time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Versus the Eat ones, which we're gonna hear these for a minute, and then we're gonna hear a new set for a minute. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Crazy to see though. Shout to Yeet
Yeah.
doing big
Nuts.
numbers. Back to the Weeknd here. This week, he became the first artist to surpass 99 million monthly listeners on Spotify. This is crazy. Do you think he's gonna get to 100K or 100 million?
I feel like he's got to, Spotify's going to boost that extra million or something. He's going to get it for sure because
Uh-huh.
that's just a crazy accomplishment there. So,
And that Die For You remix is definitely, I
yeah,
think that's
helping.
the boost. That's what's going to help. We'll see. And then, I mean, there's potential that he could drop a new project. That alone could also help. This weekend, he dropped his HBO special for his LA show on the After Hours Until Dawn tour stop. You know, a lot of different things here that could maybe help give him that little boost. You know, people watching HBO be like, oh, I'm going to go listen to his songs. That could bump it.
Mm.
But he also said like that was the final thing, and the chapter has been closed for this era, and we're on to the next one. So new music this year, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I'd be
We'll see what
excited though.
happens. Yeah,
I'm gonna be excited.
I feel like my gut tells me yes, but we'll see what happens, like you said. So,
I want it to be a yes so bad that I think I'm making my gut say yes, but my gut almost
uh,
says no. So I don't know. We'll see.
let's talk about something that is coming this year, though. We got Utopia will drop in June, according to Epic Records CEO. Sheesh, it's coming. Definitely like I was thinking first quarter, but first half I'm all right with. So
Yeah, June is not too far away. You know, Travis, assuming he doesn't switch up his sound very much, he's going to come through with those anthems that are going to be played all summer. You know, the Sicko Mode, the Goosebumps, the Antidote, those huge tracks. Every album has that huge track that just runs it. And I think, you know, there's potential for Travis to run the summer. I feel like with Birds, it was a later in the year drop. It was like August.
yeah,
Same thing with Astro World. So I feel like him dropping a little bit earlier, he's going to be running everything. Everybody's going to be talking about Travis Scott. So I think the summer drop for him is great. You know, he could be doing some tours, outdoor
definitely.
tours. He gives me that vibe. So, yeah, shout out to Travis. Excited for this. It's been a long time, and I feel like, you know, he's overcome so much. Like, obviously, you know, everything was such a tragedy with Astroworld, but like, I feel like he's almost back to where he was at, like in the public eye. Like, the controversy isn't really there anymore. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what he does.
Of course, yeah. Big Travis fans here, so really excited for the project, and I mean I hope he drops another classic.
Yeah. Next news here. Rolling Stone made a list of 50 genuinely horrible albums by brilliant artists, and Yay by Kanye West was number one. What are your thoughts on this?
I feel like you can look at this album two different ways and make it not horrible. The message that a artist is sending by Ye, with the album being, majority about mental health, stuff like that. I feel like that message in itself makes it not a genuinely horrible album. And the music itself, the music's good on it. I don't understand the hate Ye gets. I think Ye is, I wouldn't say in the top half of Kanye albums, but it's right there. Like Ye is phenomenal project to me, at least one of my favorites. So
Yeah, it's definitely not top half for me. It's
yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
and there are some not good songs on it, but as a whole, like I don't think how you could say it's like genuinely awful. Like it's pretty good. Like it's fine. Like in other people's discography too, it would be like way higher. And I
Oh
get that
yeah,
they're talking
yeah.
about these brilliant artists having not so good albums, but I don't know. I just couldn't see it being number one if that was in order. I honestly didn't see. I just saw the headline here, which is maybe bad on us, but yeah, if it was in order, number one is crazy. Next news here: Drake mentions potentially retiring. He had an interview with Lil Yachty, and he, kind of talked about this, leaving the game. I haven't watched the full interview yet. I've seen clips, looked really good, so I definitely got to check it out. But what are your thoughts on this? Drake leaving it in his prime versus after a decline?
I feel like it could kind of be like a Jay-Z situation where he slows down on his releases, but I mean he's always gonna be there. You know, he's such a huge name and everything. He's always gonna be attached to rap in some form, whether it's putting on other artists or stuff like that. So I think we call it retiring, you know, in quotations there. So
That's what I think too. Yeah, I don't think there's any 100% out for Drake. I think he'll always be around. So we'll see. But I do think it'd be good versus him getting like the Eminem treatment, because I feel like he already gets that so much. Like
yeah,
people are like, oh, he fell off after views, whatever. So I think, you know, leaving loosely could be good for his legacy. Let's close it out here with the last news. You know, shout out to all the local listeners. We got a big piece of news. Rap concerts like never come to our area, but we got one coming April 19th. Wiz Khalifa and Joey Badass in Bloomington, Illinois. So if you're local and you haven't heard about that, might be a decent show for you to check out. I've seen Joey a couple times. He's great. I'm sure Wiz, he's got hits. So that'll be cool. And it's the day before 420, which is like random that they're going to be in Bloomington, Illinois. But if that's how Wiz wants to spend his holiday, shout out to him, I guess.
definitely. Should be a W concert. We're in debate if I want to go. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I mean, it should be a great show though, of course. So.
Yep. But I think that's gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and we'll see you guys next Monday with a new episode. Peace.